Tata Steel offering £4 billion or $7.5 billion US for a company called the Chorus Group. It'd be the biggest takeover yet by an Indian company. Intel continuing to gain traction after hours. The chip maker reported third quarter profits down 35% because of market share losses and price cuts, but 35% southward momentum was better than expected. You've heard about the famines and millions who've reportedly starved to death, and never mind now that North Korea has joined the nuclear club that let them eat fish, raw fish that is. A Singapore businessman is keen to export his chain of sushi restaurants to the reclusive Republic. Joining us from the Lion City today, Douglas Foo, CEO of SGX-listed Apex Pal, which brought Southeast Asia and China the Sakai sushi brand. Douglas, welcome to the program. One burning question, of all the places you could expand to outside ASEAN and China, why North Korea?
Well, in 2001, we actually had a delegation from Singapore going to North Korea for some business opportunities. We kept in contact with the network that we built over time, and this year, 2 months ago, they came over. There was a company from Korea, and they liked what we were doing. And we initially, the 2001 visit left quite a deep impression because the Korean food is fantastic, and we would like to bring that Korean food into Singapore. So that's why the visit recently.
So this is actually a two-way bilateral thing. Not only are you exporting what you do best, but you want to bring North Korean cuisine to Singapore. What exactly are we talking about here?
Yeah, absolutely. Over in North Korea, we actually tried some very interesting cuisine of theirs, which is very authentic. No influence from the outside. They were using a lot of mushrooms from the hilltop. They were using roots from the plants. They were using a lot of seafood on the eastern board. And these were really, really clean stuff. But, you know, over there, there's little industrialization. Everything is in its pure form, so to speak. And what we saw and what we ate there was very interesting. You get 15 different little bowls made of gold color, and you get selection of that for each person on the table. And that I'm kind of wondering
whether you were given sort of a sanitized version of what's available, because, you know, regularly through the years there have been reports about people having to eat grass and scrape bark off trees. We'll leave that one aside for a second here. Let me ask you this. At a time when there wasn't enough for everybody in North Korea to eat, it was said that Kim Jong-il happens to be the biggest single consumer of Napoleon the 13th coney egg and XO, and also kept jumbo lobsters in tanks on his train and in his palace as well. Did this interest in yours in engaging in North Korea come at the behest of the very top level? It's one thing to serve Kim Jong-il and his cadres. It's another to become a mass-market brand in North Korea.
Actually, we were talking to a lot of the businessmen, the state-owned enterprises, and what we saw was restaurants in the city itself, which usually they entertain the expats and some of the visiting businesses. So if we were to bring a Sakai sushi into the Pyongyang, that's really our target market. And what they were serving is on a regular basis, you know, specifically for us. We are little guys from Singapore, and what we were trying to do was to create some business opportunities, bilateral business opportunities for both companies.
Mm-hmm. How many do you want to open? Is it just going to be one? Is it going to be a dozen? And who exactly are you targeting? I suspect that even if you sold them at 25 cents US a piece, that would be way beyond the discretionary spending power of the average North Korean. Is there a big expat population? They do keep the troops well fed, apparently, in North Korea. What kind of demographic are you looking at?
We are really looking at the state-owned enterprise. They have quite a number of state-owned enterprise right now that is doing businesses all over. And these are the companies that do entertainment, whether companies visiting to Pyongyang itself or cross between the state-owned enterprises themselves. And that is really the kind of target segment we are looking at. In fact, the hotel that we stayed at, we had to pay 180 euros per night.
How are you going to, what about the infrastructure? What about leases, agreements on premises? What about getting fitting out of the restaurants? The robot conveyor belts. Do they have a supplier in North Korea? Where do you get your fish from? Does North Korea have the equivalent of a Tsukiji fish market?
We didn't visit the Tsukiji fish market. We are looking at getting most of the things locally, but as far as the machineries, equipments are concerned, we hope to actually bring them from outside, from Singapore.
And you're going to JV that. You're not doing this 100% capital expense on your own. You're tying up with somebody. Who would you be tying up with? Is there a state restaurant bureau or something, or would it be like an outside company?
It's a corporation. It's a state-owned enterprise called Moran Corporation. We actually did a MOU with them to actually start bringing the Pyongyang Korean cuisine into Singapore at the first instance. And then thereafter, we'll probably look at how we bring Sakai Sushi over to Pyongyang.
Right. Let me. I need to. I'm trying to figure out a way to put this as sensitively but accurately as I can. In the past, Singapore companies have been accused of dealing with unsavory regimes. Myanmar, for instance, through a policy of so-called constructive engagement. Is your interest in North Korea distinctly a result of this sort of intended engagement, Douglas?
It's actually purely a business decision. We felt the Korean cuisine is interesting. There's a Korean culture behind it, and that's why there's an interest to actually bring it to Singapore and make it available to many people here. And on the other hand, our Pyongyang counterpart, like what we're doing for the Japanese food, Sakai Sushi, the kind of modern design, the kind of efficient service, the kind of freshness in terms of serving the food with a vitamin E rice ball, there was this interest in them that they would like to let the Korean businessmen and the Korean businesses, the expat community in Pyongyang, experience the same kind of Sakai experience that we have been bringing around in this region. So it is based on purely a business opportunity.
Douglas, when people are worried about nukes, may you bring peace through the palate. Douglas Foo.